Let's learn a little bit about surveying. The American Congress on Surveying and Mapping has kind of a nice description of what exactly surveying is. And they say it is the art and science of making all essential measurements to determine the relative position of points or physical and cultural details above, on, or beneath the surface of the earth, and then to depict them in a usable form, or to establish the position of points or details. That was a lot. Let's unpack that a little bit. Surveying is going to determine the position of a point on the earth somewhere. All right, and we need to know where it is horizontally as well as vertically in the elevation. Right? Once you've got all that information about where these points are, it's important to interpret that in a usable form. That would be creating those topo maps, all right, or the surveyor's grid. Right? And finally, to establish marks to control construction, right, or to indicate land boundaries. How do surveyors do this? Well, they can use this kind of equipment, all right? Kind of top left here, you see someone using a theodolite or a transit level, or there is another one called a total station. Right? Any of these tools are basically a telescope, can be moved on the horizontal and vertical axes. All right. And although digital and non-digital versions exist, the non-digital are rarely used anymore. So these are some sophisticated pieces of equipment. You use that device with a tripod, all right, to place it up at eye height, and also with a measuring stake or a prism pole. Right, that's what we see somebody in the bottom left here holding. And it measures the elevation of that ground level. Surveying can also be done through GPS. This is going to use satellite signals to capture location data. In comparison to the traditional method, GPS surveying is going to be quick, it's going to be accurate, it's also extremely flexible and mobile. Take a look at this illustration on the left. We see that several reference stations will be set out around a site, and then individual locations will be measured within that site, and all with reference to those satellite signals. No matter which type or method of surveying is used, you're always going to follow the two principles of surveying. They are, number one, work from whole to part. And number two, to locate new points by a measurement of a minimum of at least 2 reference points. What does it mean to work from whole to part? Well, first, a large area on your site is covered in surveying, all right? And you're going to establish control points. After that, after you have kind of worked around the edge of this large area, surveying is carried out within the area. You work from the larger whole to the smaller part, all right, and that minimizes error in measurements. The second principle is another way to minimize error in surveying. And what you need to do is have 2 different independent processes to fix the location of any new point. Right? Those 2 different methods will cross-check together, and you'll end up with an accurate survey.